They're slowing down in a 4-player cohesive unit, allowing their player to tackle the 3 players ahead of them of Dairyland Dolls. They're going to now try to drop back a little bit here, forcing Dairyland to have to let their player go through.
Three blockers, Madison blockers, all over Trauma. That's going to be Chop Susie and Sugar Lumps. Jenny Knoxville bringing up the rear in that trap. But Mouse standing up now. Trauma, nice jam from Trauma.
3 points for Trauma in that last trip around, 49-34 Cincinnati over Mad Roll, and about 16 minutes to go in this half.
And Hannah Ochocinco in the penalty box again. I think, my unofficial count, I think this is the 3rd trip to the box already, and we're just halfway into the first half, and she only gets 7 trips before she gets expelled. And Hannah Ochocinco is one of Cincinnati's go-to jammers. Kay Leafo.
She got destruction of the pack. That's why I do it.
I was just informed Hannah actually got a destruction of the pack. The pack split, and the referees assessed it to Hannah Ochocinco. But I think this is her 3rd trip to the box, and she only gets 7, as I was saying. Kay Lethal, another one of the go-to jammers, in looking to get her intentional 4th minor, so she's going to go to the box. She's lining up behind the pivot line. Some people like to refer to it as poodle or cooter, but what it is she's getting her intentional 4th minor, so she can most likely, so that she can jam very soon with a clean slate. The last thing you want to do as a jammer is pick up a 4th minor.
It's true. 5 on 5 Magazine is the official magazine of Women's Flat Track Derby Association. Subscribe now, 5on5mag.com, 5on5mag.com. Also, is your Derby League experiencing growing pains? Have Derby Will Travel can help. Get a free consultation at havederbywilltravel.com.
And we're getting ready to start Trauma lining up now. There was a little bit of a switch up at the jammer line for Cincinnati. Kay Lethal hits to the box on that intentional minor. And Trauma is released, and Mouse almost at the same time. Oh, she had a little bit of a mix-up in communication. She might have jumped the gun a little bit there, but she backpedaled, did not enter the track, so she probably didn't pick up any penalties there. But there she is. She's saying, "Where is my jam ref? Am I lead jammer?" There it is. Well, the jam ref. Now that was smart. That was responsible jam refing. The jam ref making sure that the other jammer was not already awarded lead jammer before assigning it, because that could be minor country if you assign it. But there it is. 5 points for Mouse of Madison Rolling Dolls.
Mouse zips on through Skate Crime and Skater Kinney. The one she's going to have to tangle with Skater Kinney first. She zips around the right side. You'll see a lot of hop steps coming out of Mouse. Passed by and cutting the track, coming up on a Cincinnati player. Mouse
a little
sent off, cutting the track.
That was
Trauma, who is just now coming in, is going to have to back up while Dairyland backs up as well. She's got to go all the way to the rear of the pack because she's just entering from her penalty expiring.
Now that was interesting. Cincinnati actually backpedaling along with the Mad Rollin' Dolls. Now in that situation, if Cincinnati had just stood still, then Mad Rollin' Dolls actually backing up would probably have been assessed the splitting the pack, and also their jammer would have been able to get back in without incurring any penalties at that time. So possibly a small minor tactical error, but still power jam Cincinnati. Trauma all over it.
Just for a mere moment, Trauma's already standing up, about ready to enter into the game. Mouse getting an elbow from Cincinnati from Ochocinco. Now going around Skate Crime on the right side, gives a shot. Does Charlie Hustle to Kay Lethal, getting a springing Mouse to go in front. And Mouse calls this one off. Getting Mad Rollin' Dolls ever closer. 50-43 Cincinnati with the lead.
Charlie Hustle sent to the penalty box at the end of that last jam, so it's going to be 3 on 3. I was trying to see. I didn't see the third Cincinnati's blocker on the track, but we've got Skater Kinney in the penalty box for Cincinnati, so 3 on 3 in the pack. Kay Lethal versus Jewels of the Nile. Once again, Mad Rollin' Dolls in the blue, Cincinnati in the black and white, and Jewels of the Nile doing what we're so used to seeing her. She just out races the blocker in the front, and she comes out lead jammer.
Yep, jukes in, jukes out, gets past Jungle Lacey. Here comes Cincinnati. They're about ready to score with Kay Lethal, or be in scoring position rather.
Great positional blocking by Jungle Lacey, coming around and just stops Jules in her tracks, knocks her down, in fact. And Jungle Lacey, I think, is about a half. She could fit in Jules of the Nile's pocket. Jules of the Nile, one of the taller skaters out there, and Jungle Lacey, I think, only comes up to about halfway up Jules of the Nile's midsection, but she was able to take her down with a nice hip check in turn one.
Vicious Van Gogh trying to argue the case, saying 3 points, 3 points. They know. They got it right. 50-46. As Cincinnati leads Mad Rollin'. Again, the winner of this will go to championship. Third place will be their finish.
Little Misbehaving sneaks up the inside, picks up lead jammer for Mad Rollin' Dolls. Hannah Ocho Cinco dodging around the outside of Tango de Muerte, the dance of death. Wildberry Punch catches Hannah Ocho Cinco, though, in turn one with a hip check. But Hannah Ocho Cinco now progressing forward. Tango de Muerte catches her again coming out of turn four. And Hannah Ocho Cinco forced to the inside and the outside. Tango de Muerte doing a tango of her own all the way to the inside and the outside. Hannah Ocho Cinco unable to make any progress. 5 points picked up in the meantime by Lil Misbehaving.
Darling Nikki gave a whip and got the 5 points secured for Dairyland Dolls. Called off here. 2 players in her rear view. So 3 players in her rear view with a player in the penalty box. So 3 points go on the board for Mad Rollin'. 54-50. They take the lead.
That's with an 8-point jam. No, it looks like it might be a 9-point jam. I saw 3 earlier, but the Madison jam ref coming up and holding up 4 fingers now. I'm waiting to see if the score changes, but so far the score is showing an 8-point. There it is, 9-point jam by Lil Misbehaving, but that's a lead change. So if you're playing the game along at home, it's time to take a shot.
Take a drink, man. Kay Lethal to the line, Mouse to the line for Mad Rollin'. Cincinnati wants more clarification, as they always do.
Yeah, according to the official bylaws of the DNN drinking game, it's if it's a 0-point jam, it's a drink, but a lead change is actually a shot.
A shot
of milk or lemonade or whatever your favorite beverage is.
Soda pop. Sin City Skates, the original Derby-owned skate shop, is also DNN's very first sponsor. Buy skates from a skater at cincityskates.com. Clarification still ongoing. Officials holding up the timeout. Another review here of how these teams got here. Cincinnati, the 4 seed. Mad City, the 3 seed. Cincinnati winning their opening bout against Bruce City. A fantastic derby bout right down to the wire. You could cut the tension. You could cut the competitiveness with a knife. Here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, 145-138 was their win, and then they lost 177-145 over Windy City, the number 1 seed.
Kay Lethal jamming for Cincinnati. Hits the pack first. Mouse jamming for Mad Rollin' Dolls. Gets hung up at the back with a 3-wall from Cincinnati. Kay Lethal managing to outmaneuver the Mad Rollin' defense. Dairyland Dolls. I'm going to call them Dairyland Dolls. The double D's. The ladies in blue. Mouse out of the back as well, but Kay Lethal on her first scoring pass, going to try and outrace Charlie Hustle. Charlie Hustle catches her in turn 2. Oh, Kay Lethal outraces her, but Vicious Van Gogh puts forth that effort, that Texas transfer, former Texas Roller Girls All-Star, the Texecutioner, as they say down there. And she catches Kay Lethal. Kay Lethal's going to call off the jam, though, and she's going to secure those points up. But it looks like 4 points matched by Mouse. So 59-54.
Kay Lethal seeing more than the star in her jammer helmet after that shot from Vicious Van Gogh. That would cause anybody to call things off. Hannah Ocho Cinco. Sugar Lumps, the rookie to the line. Rookie of the year for this Mad Rollin' team.
One person's in the penalty box. That's roughing the passer of Cincinnati. 4-on-3 advantage in the pack for Mad Rolling Dolls. For the Dairyland Dolls, is Double D's. Sugar Lumps trying to hang on to Alligator and whip around, but unable to hang on.
Sugar Lumps going for the inside of the track, trying to get some help from her pivot, and that's Chop Susie. Chop Susie giving her a little shove. Now Sugar Lumps hanging on the left side with Oucho Cinco.
Skate Crime coming in with that shoulder, taking Sugar Lumps to the outside, and there's Trauma following up in turn 3 with another shoulder check. Sugar Lumps relegated to the back of the pack. Hannah Oucho Cinco, though, trying to get around Dolly Pardon Me. She does, but stuck by Alligator. Alligator with the positional blocking. Stank Girl heading to the penalty box, so Hannah Oucho Cinco finally breaks free, comes out lead jammer, and there's Sugar Lumps squeezing up the inside. Skate Crime looked like she had her locked down, but got spun around. I didn't see who did it, but that means Mad Rolling Doll Sugar Lumps out of the back as well.
Sugar Lumps about halfway around the track. Now she's able to score.
Hannah Oucho Cinco gets into the pack a little bit. You're going to be satisfied with 2 points, a +2 differential for Cincinnati. Hannah Oucho Cinco calling off the jam.
Back and forth and back and forth. 3 lead changes we've seen. Cincinnati within 3 points now of Mad Rolling Dolls. They have kept this one close. Kay Lethal to the line. Kay Lethal, the most effective jammer so far for this Black Sheep squad, a 19-point jam early on.
Wildberry Punch jamming for Mad Rolling Dolls. Double D's. The girls from Mootown.
The Cowbell faithful letting their team hear it here in Green Bay.
Kay Lethal hits the back again, comes around the outside with a lot of speed, just gets right past Jules of Denial on defense this time, and that looks like Dolly Pardon Me. No, Tango de Muerte, sorry. Tango de Muerte and Darling Nikki unable to stop her, but right behind her, Wildberry Punch. Kay Lethal the lead jammer, though. About a quarter lap behind her, Wildberry Punch. Both jammers making their way around to the pack.
Dairyland setting up a 3-wall here for Kay Lethal. She's going to try to take the outside, maybe see if she can get a quick point and stop it, but doesn't really see as her opposing jammer Wildberry Punch gets through and gets 4 points.
Wildberry Punch out of the pack and already halfway through, but Kay Lethal comes out of the pack with a little help from Buckhead Betty. She's going to match those 4 points and call off the jam. So it's still a 3-point game, 63-60. Mad Rolling Dolls hanging on to the lead so far. Just under 7 minutes left.
Kay Lethal heads to the bench, sends on Hannah Oucho Cinco.
Little Misbehaving lining up on the jammer line for the Dairyland Dolls. Hannah Oucho Cinco for Cincinnati.
Crew City Skate Shop is Derby owned in San Francisco. Their new Sacramento location opens September 17th. Online at cruzskateshop.com. That's CRUZskateshop.com.
Both jammers taking their time getting into the back, roughing the passer, sapping at the back of the pack, takes out Little Misbehaving, and Hannah Oucho Cinco makes her move. She gets around Vicious Van Gogh, who got forced out of bounds. Dolly Pardon Me gets a little piece of her with a shoulder check, but is Hannah Oucho Cinco the lead jammer. Little Misbehaving still in the pack. Skater Kinney catches her, but they hit the edge of the engagement zone, and Little Misbehaving gets a free pass, but she's a half a lap behind Hannah Oucho Cinco.
She really is. Now Cincinnati coming up, trying to get past Vicious Van Gogh, and they do, calling it off quickly. Eyes in the back of her head, a lead taken.
4 points picked up by Hannah Oucho Cinco.
Yep, the lead taken by Cincinnati, 64-63 by Hannah Oucho Cinco. The 4th different lead change here so far.
You're going to be, I hope you're not lactose intolerant, because you're going to take another shot on that lead change. Chop Susie lining up for the Mad Rolling Dolls, going up against Kay Lethal again. One blocker for each team in the penalty box is roughing the passer for Cincinnati, and Jules of Denial for the Dairyland Dolls. 3-on-3 in the back, and we got another slow start. Newcomb stuck behind Darling, Nikki, and Charlie Hustle on the pivot line. There she goes. Newcomb makes a move, and it releases the jammers. Kay Lethal and Chop Susie make on the move. Chop Susie forced wide with a hip check from Kay Lethal. Nice jammer on jammer action. Kay Lethal moving up the inside, but gets held up by her own skaters. A little bit of confusion there, and that's just enough time for Charlie Hustle to get up front. But Kay Lethal nevertheless outmaneuvers Charlie Hustle, gets out for lead jammer.
Charlie Hustle, a great effort to stick with Kay Lethal, one of the fastest skaters on the floor. So that tells you what kind of speed Hustle possesses as well. Here comes Dairyland around the left side, and it's Chop Susie. Chop Susie about 10 feet away from the pack. We may see Kay Lethal call this one off as she's tangling with a triple pack.
Chop Susie runs into a big hip check from Newcomb. Takes her off her feet almost. Chop Susie almost hitting the ground, but manages to catch herself on her hands. And it looks like Newcomb heading to the penalty box along with Darling Nikki. One blocker from each team. Darling Nikki of the Dairyland Dolls, Newcomb of Cincinnati. So just as the penalty box clears out from the previous blockers, so it's still going to be 3-on-3, but that ends the jam. And did you see how many points were?
3 points.
Thank you.
3 points go on the board. So under 4 minutes now, the winner of this, again, going to the championship. The bout after this will be the championship of the North Central Regional. That pits Windy City against Minnesota. Minnesota, one of the Cinderellas of this tournament. A couple of Cinderellas, and the big one is Minnesota. They have played unbelievable, knocking off number 2, Detroit.
Wheezy taken down by a big shoulder check from Vicious Van Gogo. Lil misbehaving, getting to the front of the back, and out-racing skater Kenny comes out with lead jammer. But Wheezy finally managing to outmaneuver Vicious Van Gogo, gets out of the pack, but Lil misbehaving, slices through the pack, and doesn't even slow down. Nobody touches her. 4 points, and she's going to call off the jam just as Wheezy hits the back of the pack. Vicious Van Gogo clips her with a hip check. And, that's going to be it may have been a penalty. We're going to wait and look for that. Vicious Van Gogo is consulting with the referees, but that's going to put the Dairyland Dolls back in the lead. 4 points picked up, 70 points to 67, and we're waiting to see what happened with Vicious Van Gogo.
Mad Rolling Dolls angrily calling a timeout, trying to get the officials' attention. They finally do.
Now I saw the referee that called the penalty. He was doing the thumbs. That means expulsion. So it looks like that may mean a gross misconduct. We're going to wait for a definite answer on that because that could be a huge factor.
Well, the hit clearly came after the whistle. That whistle had blown a good few seconds. I mean, there was obvious misconduct. How severe the misconduct is what the officials are discussing right now.
Now, one thing, I mean, that whistle may have blown, but it was so quick, and the Cincinnati Jammer Wheezy was hauling, what, around that turn, and that could easily have just been a reflex, and also. A lot of times the skaters, every time we were announcing in the house call, when they get on the floor, the feedback we get from them is they don't hear the music, They don't hear the fans, they sure as heck don't hear the announcers. They hardly hear anything except for their teammates shouting at them, and so it's like it's so easy for the skaters to just not even just completely lose awareness and be so focused on the skaters around them and what's going on in the jam, and then it was just a really split-second timing. Wheezy hauling, around that turn, and Vicious Van Gogo, you see the jammer, you take her out.
Kay Lethal coming to the line for Cincinnati, they're in white. Coming to the line for the Dairyland Dolls in blue is Jules of Denial.
Well, the referee's still consulting, and Vicious Van Gogo still on the floor. So we don't have a resolution to this yet, but we're not going to know until the referee huddle breaks up. But in the meantime, why don't we thank a couple of our sponsors?
Sure, Rockstar Skates, Derby owned in St. Louis. Get free shipping on any order over $50 this weekend. Use the coupon code DNN, Derby News Network, clever, DNN at rockstarskates.com. You're listening to DerbyNewsNetwork.com's live cast of this North Central Regional Tournament here from Green Bay.
And another one of our sponsors, Derby for All. It's a Derby-owned shop in Minneapolis and ready to serve you online at derbyforall.com. That's Derby, the number 4, all.com. Derbyforall.com, Derby owned in Minneapolis.
Scores so far from today in the North Central: Omaha over arch rival 169-112. Omaha making their first appearance in the tournament this year. The 10 seed, they got their first win. North Star over Brew City 138-84 earlier today, and the bout right before this, Detroit winning big over Naptown 153-91. Naptown finishes 2-2. Detroit finishes at 153. Naptown a very impressive showing in their first outing, finishing 2-2. They defeated in their first one arch rival, and the second one lost to Windy City, then defeated Brew City in a classic last evening, and lost today to Detroit. Started well early, then it was just too much Detroit. So that brings us here, Mad Rolling Dolls versus Cincinnati for third place in a trip to the championship, 70-67, with about 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining.
All right, we're still on an official timeout. The referee's conferring now, and Vicious Van Gogh talking. Earlier it looked like Vicious Van Gogh was being expelled, but we're going to verify that the referee's not going to make any hasty decisions here. Because this could be a huge factor. But very quickly, I just want to send a thank you to all of you DNN viewers out there. We are very close to meeting our 2010 Core Fund Drive target. So if you've been lusting after the clothes and tote bags designed by our day's sponsor today, Flat Track Revolution, time is running out. Just click the contribute button anywhere on the site. For your every revolution needs a live stream gifts. Tell the world that you're a part of viewer-supported, volunteer-powered DerbyNewsNetwork.com. And thank you to Flat Track Roller Derby, or Flat Track Revolution. I always thank Flat Track Roller Derby.
Sure.
But Flat Track Revolution, the sponsor for today's coverage, live coverage on DNN.
Timeout going on almost 5 minutes here, as really they've got an important decision to make. Throw the player out or keep the player in. That's what's going on. A late hit is the discussion. How vicious was the hit? Well, we're about ready to find out from these officials. It's Vicious Van Gogh that laid a hit on a Cincinnati player late in the game, so she's part of this discussion.
Now, it looked like a clean hit from here. It was very close to the inside line, but an experienced player like Vicious Van Gogh is going to be very aware where her feet are before she hip checks a skater, especially when she has that much time to set. Meanwhile, Wheezy is going to be trying to stay inbounds. So it looked like a clean hit from here. The only thing that might have been wrong was it was late. It was not a careless hit or out of control hit. It was just the Wheezy was coming by, and Vicious Van Gogh, all she had to do was stick out her hip. So that was it. We're going to see what happened, but Vicious Van Gogh is still on the track.
She's staying, so I guess the late hit didn't come late. Kay Lethal to the line for the Black Sheep in white, and for the Dairy Dolls, they'll send Jules of Denial. She's in blue. Hannah Ochocinco hanging out at the line, serving. She will head to the box and come straight out.
The box is full.
Minor. Box is full, so kind of a pass going for Hannah Ochocinco.
That's right. Both teams have two blockers in the penalty box, and now Hannah Ochocinco as a blocker for Cincinnati still owes a minute in the penalty box. Jules of Denial races out of the pack, picks up lead jammer. There goes Kay Lethal, just getting right around Chop Susie at the front of the pack, and she's going to get out as well. Half a lap, though, behind Jules of Denial. Jules of Denial goes through a very tiny pack, picks up her 4 points, calls off the jam.
Mad Rollin extending their lead at 74-67. We've already seen two 19-point jams early on for both of these teams. Otherwise, it has been back and forth, blow by blow, everything you'd expect for a third place and a chance at the championships. Wheezy to the line for Cincinnati. Low Misbehavin' heading to the line for Dairyland. Pack whistle goes. Here go the Jammers. Low Misbehavin' trailing. And Wheezy gets on the inside and gets right past Trauma. Her mate screening out. The Dairyland Dolls blockers. Lead jam for Trauma right behind her. Low Misbehavin'. She won't be lead jam, but she's able to score points right now.
Okay, we just got an update on the Vicious Van Gogh situation. Looks like Vicious Van Gogh, actually the referee was closer to the action than we are. Called it a low block. Okay. So, and in fact, it looks like it wasn't even a factor of the whistle, which is what we thought. But he was calling it a low block, and Cincinnati was actually challenging, wanting it to be a gross misconduct, which would have been an expulsion, but it was denied. It looks like Vicious Van when Go-Go got a penalty, got a minute in the box. She had to be in that jam because there was already 2 blockers in the penalty box. So now she's serving that minute. But she is not ejected, which is what it looked like Madison was fearing. So how'd that last jam go?
Well, 4 points on the board for Cincinnati from Wheezy, 74-71. She got in the middle of the pack, decided to call it off, seeing Dairyland get on her tail. So here comes Kay Lethal and Sugar Lumps. Kay Lethal, 19 points earlier.
And it looked like when that first whistle went off, there was only about 17 seconds left on the period clock. So we're going to, with this jam, it looks like this jam will be the final jam. But Sugar Lumps getting out of the pack first, picking up lead jammer. And there it is. Looks like the period clock has expired. So as soon as this jam ends, that'll be end of the period. Sugar Lumps almost gets into the pack on the outside. Jules of the Nile covering on the outside. But there's Hannah Ocho Cinco covering it. But she gets a hip check in there. But Sugar Lumps passes by with relative ease. But here comes Kay Lethal sneaking up the inside. Looking for that 1 point, 1 or 2 points, but coming up empty. 4-0 for Sugar Lumps.
Sugar Lumps called it off just at the right time and gets her mad rolling team the points they need to go in leading a little bit more. Kay Lethal skating off. Some discussion here as to how many points. Right now it stands at 78-71. Mad rolling over Cincinnati. Cincy wants an explanation, and I think really wants that extra point squeezed out. From where we saw, or from where I'm sitting at least, I don't think Kay Lethal got up on Mad Rollin', so I'm pretty sure this one's going to stand.
But this is the most high-stakes game of this tournament. Now that we're coming up is going to be the tournament championship. That's going to be the regional championships tournament. But both of those teams are guaranteed a slot. Only the top 3 going to the WFTDA championships, which will be this November in Chicago, the Windy City. But so that means only 3 teams. That means the 3rd place team goes to the championships. The 4th place team, they go get tacos and then go to bed early. So, I mean, so both of these teams fighting like crazy, and really tough match right now, but only 7 points separating these two teams at the halftime, 78-71. Really exciting game, and a lot of action out here, and a lot of commitment, and just fierce competitiveness out there.
Teams heading into the locker room, 4 lead changes to speak of. Lots more to come live from Green Bay. You're listening to and watching the Derby News, or watching Derby News Network.com. We'd like to thank and extend a very special thanks to our longtime partner, Fast Girl Skates, for presenting this weekend's live coverage of the WFTDA North Central Regional Playoffs that you're watching on DerbyNewsNetwork.com. Located in the historic Wallingford neighborhood in Seattle, Fast Girl Skates was the world's first brick-and-mortar roller derby skate shop. Since 2009, they've been taking orders online from around the world at FastGirlSkates.com. Send in a group order for your new league, and they'll help you save on shipping anywhere on the planet. Couldn't bring the great live coverage without the help from FastGirlSkates.com. Tell them DNN sent you. From Green Bay, we're live, DerbyNewsNetwork.com. I'm Danny Mack and Bulldog. We'll be right back.
Lead Jumper, Red City Roller Girl. Lead Jumper, Gary Landau. Calls off the chair.
Welcome back. You're looking live here at Brown County Arena in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Danny Mac and Bulldog. And we're watching the third place bout, Mad Rollin' Dolls versus Cincinnati here in the North Central Regional Tournament. Bulldog, a little bit of a clarification on one of the key moments of the latter part of this first half. Mad Rollin leading Cincinnati 78-71, but Mad Rollin had a little bit of a penalty issue, and the severity of the penalty was the issue.
That's right. It was Vicious Van Gogh coming out, just sticking her hip out, but head referee Great Scott, he was right next to Vicious Van Gogh, and when he saw that block, it initially looked like a suicide block to him. That was his perspective, but he was right on top of it, so he didn't have a good angle. He initially said expulsion, but then of course Madison checks that, and he consulted with the other referees who had a little bit of a wider perspective and had a better angle on it, and they after consulting with them, he overruled himself as head referee. He can do that, and went with the judgment of his fellow referees, of his team, his crew, and reduced the penalty to just a major low block. It was not based on the whistle as we had first thought, but it was a low block call. Cincinnati did challenge and wanted it to be a gross misconduct, but that was denied. The challenge denied, and that's why Vicious Van Gogh went to the penalty box, and it was just a low block.
And it was an interesting situation, too, because at the time, so much was focused on that one penalty, but Mad Rollin already had 3 gals in the penalty box. She couldn't even serve the penalty. That was discussed so much, so she had to take a lap around. Finally, she got to serve her penalty, and finally we're hearing a little bit of what actually happened. He was right on top of it, so give Great Scott credit for being right there, discussing, and actually that's a difficult thing sometimes to do, especially when you're in an environment like this, high-pressure tournament environment, to make a call and then say, wait a minute, you guys are right. I'm going to go ahead and hear what you had to say and take what you had to say.
Well, the referees, they work as a team. They practice together. They work as a team, and you have to trust your crew. When you check with your crew and they say they saw something different than what you said, and when there's several of them agreeing with it, and he also has the humility. He said, I was right on top of the action, so I knew I didn't have the best angle. That's what it looked like to me on initial impression, but my fellow referees disagreed. They had a better angle. I'm gonna go with them, and that's the sign of a ref. That's the integrity that Great Scott has. So he's doing a great job out there. And now it's the score, 78-71. A fresh 30 minutes on the period clock, and we've got Cincinnati with just a minute ago they had 2 skaters in the penalty box, but it looks like Hannah Ochocinco not in the penalty box anymore. Not sure what happened there, but probably just a little mix up on the penalty tracking. So we've got 4 on 3. Mad Rollin' Dolls with 4 blockers. Cincinnati with Trauma standing up, though. She's going to come out in a minute. Kay Lethal versus Darling Nikki.
Yep, Trauma makes her way back in. 78-71, as you said. Mad Rollin' leading, and a lead jam going for Mad Rollin' Dolls. There have been 4 lead changes in this bout thus far.
Kay Lethal with a major back block going to the penalty box, so it's power jam. Darling Nikki already lead jammer and comes around for a scoring pass. Jungle Lacey and Trauma unable to stop her. They got a little piece of her. Darling Nikki, though, just brushing off a couple of hip checks. Coming around the outside, 5 points for Mad Rollin' Dolls. And here she is, another scoring pass already. It was just the pack only got all the way from turn 1 to turn 2 in the time it took Darling Nikki to get around the back. But this time, Cincinnati with some tough defense out there.
Kay Lethal, a back block major heading to the box, and now Darling Nikki sits in there, so Kay Lethal coming back in.
Yeah, that's right. I think Darling Nikki with about 30 seconds or so, roughly, in the penalty box. That was a jammer switch out. Kay Lethal not wasting any time, though. Gets into the pack, but Wildberry punches there to cut her off on the outside. Now trying to squeeze, right? But right now, we can see there's a wide open inside lane. But Kay Lethal in the heat of battle, going around the outside, but surrounded by all four Mad Rollin' Dolls blockers. We got Wildberry punch to the front, digging that shoulder in and forcing just muscling Kay Lethal out to the outside of turn 4, and Kay Lethal at the back of the bus, but now recovers. Oh, but gets up to the front, and that's Little Miss Behavin' and Mouse at the front, but now they're past that engagement zone, out of play, and we may have gotten a minor on Little Miss Behavin', but nobody getting sent to the penalty box. Kay Lethal out of the pack, but that was her initial pass, and Darling Nikki coming out of the penalty box, finishing up her scoring pass, 5 points for Mad Rolling Dolls.
Yep, she was in there for a low block, and now is back in. Kay Lethal taking a shot from Wild Berry punch, jam called off. Cincinnati trying to inch their way back in this one. We'll see if she got a couple of points on the way going in before Nikki got up on the pack. 1 point going on the board.
Now, I saw 5 points held up by the jam ref. Darling Nikki, when she went to the penalty box on that jammer switch out, she was on a scoring pass, and she got through the pack again, got 5 points, and then it looked like 1 more point. So there should be 6 points on it, but the scoreboard hasn't changed yet. Still looking to see... No, I think the scoreboard operator just possibly had an emergency, but we've got someone fixing it up.
88-72 is the score. Mad Rollin' over Cincinnati.
And that is 6 points picked up by Darling Nikki, and 1 point, though, by Kay Lethal.
So the score that you're seeing on DerbyNewsNetwork.com, not quite updated, but we'll keep you there. 88-72. Mad Rollin' in the blue. Cincinnati in the white. Coming to the line, Chop Susie and Hannah Ocho-Cinco. Chop Susie for this Mad Rollin' team.
All right, we do have an official timeout. And I'm looking at it. There's right now, there may be technical difficulties with the scoreboard, but I'm seeing 2 different displays right now. But the main scoreboard, 88-72. Official timeout. Any idea what they are discussing? I didn't see anything that happened that was outright weird. So
now part of it, I'm sure, has to do with the scoring discrepancy, and they're getting that. We'll update you a little bit on what's happened so far today to get us to this point. This bout will be the finish of the third place team. So whoever wins gets third place, gets sent to the championship. Naptown and Detroit played earlier. Detroit bettering them for 5th place. Bruce City and North Star faced off. North Star getting the 7th place. And early this morning, arch rival and Omaha receiving their first victory. This was their first appearance in the WFTDA North Central Regional Tournament.
Hannah Ocho-Cinco lining up for Cincinnati. Cincinnati in the black and white, or the white and black, maybe I should say. And Chop Susie lining up for the Dairyland Dolls. Ladies in blue. Dairyland Dolls with 2 blockers in the penalty box. Little Miss Behavin' and Mouse. And that is Jungle Lacey in the penalty box for Cincinnati. 3-on-2 advantage Cincinnati.
27 minutes remaining in this one. 88-72. Mad Rollin' over Cincinnati. Hannah Ocho-Cinco takes off, gets lead jam. And Mad Rollin' trying to squeeze their player through, but having a lot of trouble as Cincinnati, led by Skater Kinney, clinches down on Mad Rollin' Jammers.
Cincinnati now with Jungle Lacey out of the penalty box, so they're 4-on-2. Mad Rollin' Dolls was still with 2 blockers in the penalty box, and Chop Susie getting owned by the Cincinnati pack. Here comes Hannah Ocho-Cinco into the pack. But now the only blocker for a second there was only Chop Susie, the Mad Rollin' Dolls jammer, that was holding back Hannah Ocho-Cinco, but she did a fantastic job just long enough for Jules of the Nile to come in and get position on Hannah Ocho-Cinco. But Chop Susie still trying to get out of the pack. Now, Chop Susie, not a regular jammer for Mad Rollin' Dolls, but she is fighting in there. Oh, for a second there, I thought she was going to the penalty box.
This pack is going viciously fast. Chop Susie has to try to keep up with it. Cincinnati, Hannah Ocho-Cinco released from the box. 5 points right away.
Chop Susie now putting on a valiant effort, but still Skater Kinney at the front of the pack, just hanging on to Chop Susie, and there's Jungle Lacey coming up to shore up the defense, fixing that 2-wall and just all over the track. Hannah Ocho-Cinco coming in for a second scoring pass. Sugar Lumps trying to keep the genie in the bottle, but Hannah nice job. Traps her on the inside line going into turn 2. But Hannah Ocho-Cinco now at the back of the pack once again. Fantastic blocking from Sugar Lumps. Chop Susie finally gets out of the pack. We're almost, the jam, almost 2 minutes took her, and she just gets halfway around to try and even move into position, and that was just her initial pass, unable to make any points. 5 more points picked up by Hannah Ochocinco.
Cincinnati gets back within single digits. 88-82 is the score with 25 minutes remaining.
So nice work by the Cincinnati. They had that 4-on-2 advantage, and they converted like the Dickens. 10-point jam by Hannah Ochocinco. Hannah, that's number 85. Ochocinco.
I'll tell you, Bulldog, both of these teams do a very, very good job of playing players that can do everything. We saw Kay Lethal coming in. She's primarily a jammer, but Dairyland, Mad Roland Dolls will run out blockers as jammers. They'll really rotate between 5 and 7 players on that jamming line. Every time a different player comes in, it throws you just a little bit more of a curve. Darling Nikki is going to jam. She spent a lot of time blocking for Mad Roland this evening. So really that switch up might sometimes be all it needs, just a different player in a different spot. Mad Roland can roll those players out, as can Cincinnati.
Another official timeout, and so I want to take this opportunity to thank Flat Track Revolution. They are sponsoring today's live coverage of the North Central Regional Tournament on DNN on the Derby News Networks, and thank you to the hundreds of you who have contributed to viewer-supported DerbyNewsNetwork.com over the summer. Our friends at Flat Track Revolution have been working day and night to get your goods ready to ship starting tomorrow, Monday, and we're going to get those to you. But check out FlatTrackRevolution.com. A lot of great products, and we get right back into the action. Kay Lethal quickly through the pack and picks up lead jammer. But Darling Nikki right behind. Both jammers moving in on a scoring path, but Darling Nikki finds an open outside line. Trauma looked like she was there, but not quick enough. Darling Nikki just flying around the track. The entire pack focused on Kay Lethal, and Kay Lethal still in there.
Kay Lethal got tied up by Vicious Van Gogo, then fought Alligator and had to let her go by. But a very, very tenacious effort for Kay Lethal to get in there. Keep her team close. It's 92-86, 24 minutes to go. As we mentioned, 4 lead changes total in this, all of those in the first half. And these players want that third place. This is the creme de la creme of this WFTDA North Central Regional Tournament.
Right, nice work by Kay Lethal. She matched the 4 points, so 4-4. So the score differential does not change. Still a 6-point game. Here we go. Hannah Ochocinco once again just muscling right past Little Misbehavin'. Little Misbehavin' forcing to the outside, but Hannah Ochocinco, nice work, squeezing through the outside. But here's Mouse, comes in right behind it now. And she's licking her fingertips. She's like she's a hungry animal. You know, maybe she sees the cheese and it's right on Hannah Ochocinco's back, and she's gonna pick up no points. Hannah Ochocinco only 1 point, but that's gonna bring them 1 point closer to the Mad Roland Dolls, 92-87.
Mouse arguing her case, wanted a point for herself as well. She made a quick burst before the hips were touched by Cincinnati, so score goes to 92-87, 5-point lead, a slim margin for Mad Roland. Kay Lethal back on the line. She's short shifting here. Cincinnati throwing their big guns to try to win this one.
Darling Nikki on the jammer line for Mad Roland Dolls. Cincinnati down a blocker. Karma crash in the penalty box. Darling Nikki quickly to the front, but Trauma clamps down and forces Darling Nikki out. Falling down allows Darling Nikki to come back in front, and she is lead jammer.
Darling Nikki, hands in the air, getting the Cowbell Nation going here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Going for the right side. Now trying to cut back outside. Gets her 5 points.
Kay Lethal still stuck in the pack. There was a little bit of there was a pile up in turn 2, but Kay Lethal coming out clean, but she gets out of the pack about 1.5 laps behind Darling Nikki. Darling Nikki moving in on her second scoring pass. Kay Lethal still has about a half a lap to go just to get into her first scoring pass, but Darling Nikki the lead jammer. So you know what we've seen all day: point protection. And Darling Nikki looking over her shoulder, sees Kay Lethal coming up, calls off the jam. She's going to settle for whatever. Oh, Kay Lethal just No, only... Oh, okay. Interesting. Cincinnati actually picked up 3 points. Oh, you know what it was? Oh, Kay Lethal picked up 1 point, but there were 2 blockers in the penalty box. So that's going to be 1 point plus 2 ghost points makes 3. And Darlene Nicky only picking up that 1 on that second pass, though. That was a second pass. So, that's going to be, she's still got some points before, so she's going to open up that lead a little bit more. 8 points now, separating the 2 teams.
98-90, 21 minutes. Here comes Mouse. She's short shifting as well. We saw her 2 jams ago versus Hana Ochocinco. Mouse going for the inside. Hop step to the right, hop step to the left. Getting back, now dealing with Skater Kinney.
And June with a cleaver, sandwiching Mouse on the inside. But Hana Ochocinco coming up the inside and it just pops right past Mouse. We saw this same exact last time we saw Mouse chasing after Hana Ochocinco like she had some cheese, just hanging from her hair. But this time, Mouse doing the chicken dance. I'm not sure what that was. 3 points picked up. 3 points picked up by Hana Ochocinco, unmatched by Mouse, and that's going to narrow that gap once again to 5 points.
Mouse, a 7-year veteran of this 7-year-old club, one of the stars of this sport, and you can see why she has an uncanny awareness of what's going around her. This time Cincinnati getting the best of that. 98-93, they've brought it within 5. Cincinnati has not held the lead since midway through the first half.
Both teams pulling out all the stops, though. This is for a trip to Chicago in November. So both teams just very hungry for this. Madison wants to go back to nationals and prove that they can hang with the best of them. Cincinnati, I don't believe they've ever been to the championship.
Yes.
Sorry to our Canadian and
shame. Take a drink out there every time we say it. Go ahead and take a drink and then slap yourself in the head with us.
That's right. I have to put a $1 in the announcer jar.
Yep. Kay Lethal at the rear of the pack coming up on Karma Crash. Now she's going to cut the inside and get right past Darling Nikki. Calls this one off. And Jewels of Denial pointing across the track.
That's going to be 4-0. Jewels of Denial unable to pick up any points. Kay Lethal calling off that jam and securing that +4 differential, and that's going to narrow it to 1 point. And we only have less than 19 minutes left in this second half, so it's a 1-point game. And this is like I was saying, this is for a trip to Chicago because the loser of this one stays home. They're not going anywhere. The winner gets a chance, a chance at the cup. They get to come within reach and get to fight for the chance to be the champions of the WFTDA for 2010. So everything on the line right now.
Keep right here on DerbyNewsNetwork.com for all of that action as it goes up. Hana Ochocinco lead jam for the Black Sheep.
And this is the 3rd time in a row we've seen Hana Ochocinco just outdo Mouse. Mouse has just been getting the short end of the stick against this jammer.
Mouse has been a little bit frustrated. She's not used to this type of out-dueling as Cincinnati's doing. A hip check from Wildberry Punch, and Hana Ochocinco calls it off. 2 points in. Cincinnati retakes the lead. Lead change, number 5, 99-98 with under 18 minutes to go.
That's team captain Charlie Hustle in the box, and that was the ghost point. Hana Ochocinco clipping 1 point off the back of the pack, and Charlie Hustle in the penalty box gave her 2. And you know what? We've been talking up Kay Lethal, but I got to give credit to Hana Ochocinco. She has been so consistent out there for Cincinnati. She hasn't been racking up huge numbers, but every single time she's gone out there, I think the last 3 or 4 times she's gone out there, she's gotten lead jammers. She's beaten Mouse people. she's gotten out there, gotten the points, and kept Mouse scoreless 3 times.
Darling Nikki dances to the outside, got a shove from Trauma, but kept on going. She'll take lead jam. A critical lead jam and make that a critical power jam for Mad Roland.
Kay Lethal goes to the penalty box, and we're starting to see some revolving doors at the penalty box. A lot of penalties mounting up for both teams. But there goes Darling Nikki getting out, picks up 5 points on the power jam. No, right now Dairyland Dolls at full strength. That could be critical. Dairyland Dolls a dangerous team at any time, but especially if they're on the power jam and they've got all of their skaters out there, they really know how to work well together. We've seen some great teamwork work from the Dairyland Dolls when they're all out there. Cincinnati's been capitalizing when the Dairyland Dolls have been shortchanged with skaters in the penalty box. But right now, Mad Rollin' Dolls at top strength, and there it is, 10 points so far by Darling Nikki.
And those 10 points have retaken the lead for Mad Rollin'. The sixth lead change this evening, 108 to 99. The ninth jam of the second period. There's still 16 minutes left. And oftentimes you'll see this. A team trying to kill a penalty will start dancing backwards once the opposing jammer goes out of bounds. So Darling Nikki has to reset the pack.
And that possible tactical error there, Stank Girl, that was Cincinnati stopped. Now Cincinnati with that full strength. Oh, no, Kay Lethal going back to the box. But what happened right there? Stank Girl went back when Cincinnati started coasting back. They got Darling Nikki out of bounds, started coasting back. Stank Girl started backing up with them. But if she just stood still, once again, that would have split the pack. Darling Nikki could come in. She could come in and get back around. She had already picked up a couple of points, and then they would have been out of play. That would have been a full 5 points while Kay Lethal was still in there. But Kay Lethal came out of the penalty box, but like I said, went straight back in. So mental errors right now. Mental errors critical.
Well, and also critical, the 14 points that Mad Rollin' has just put on the board and taken the lead, 112 to 99. As we said, 6 times the lead has changed in this third place bout. Third place, not just in this tournament, third place gets you to the tournament, to the championship.
But the Dairyland Dolls feeling the heat from Cincinnati, and then Darling Nikki comes out, a real leader on the track, and there's Jewels of the Nile. Once again, converting this power jam. The Dairyland Dolls doing some great pack work out there. They have Ruffin the Passer trapped at the back of the pack, Skater Kinney and Murderer at the front of the pack, but unable to help their teammate. Here comes Jewels of the Nile coming through on her scoring pass, forced out of bounds by Skater Kinney, but Skater Kinney goes out as well. A little bit of a little overkill on that shoulder check. All she had to do was stay in bounds, and Jewels of the Nile would have had to backpedal, but instead, Jewels of the Nile comes out only 4 points, though, because she didn't get Skater Kinney's point.
Skater Kinney, Jewels of the Nile. That battle has been raging all bout long. Here comes Jewels trying to get past Skater again on the right side. Now she's hanging with Roughing the Passer. Skater Kinney has to let her go through. The pack widens, and the Dairyland Dolls help out their jammer with strategy, holding back, allowing that pack to spread apart. Kate Lethal enters the floor. Now she's able to score. She makes her way through.
Explosive acceleration from Kate Lethal, just dodging right around Mouse and Little Miss Behavin'. Both of them regular jammers for the Mad Rollin' Dolls. But there's Jewels of the Nile, aware of the situation. She sees Kate Lethal coming in. Kate Lethal is a loaded weapon. She knows Kate Lethal coming up on the pack. She knows she's got to call it off soon, because Kate Lethal was still a quarter lap behind. But Jewels of the Nile knows Kate Lethal, not taking any chances. She calls it off early, and she makes sure that Kate Lethal's not going to steal any points.
Mad Rollin' on a 25-0 run in 3 jams. Putting a 24-0 run in 3 jams. 26
points.
26-0 in this, and once they retook the lead, it was 99-98. And now it's 123-99. So a great effort by Mad Rollin'. This late in the bout, it is unbelievably putting up those kind of points. It's under 13 minutes to go.
That's right. The scoreboard briefly showed 124 points for the Dairyland Dolls, but it adjusted to 123. But now we've got Sugar Lumps jamming for Dairyland Dolls. Oh, Vicious Van Go-Go. Oh, getting up slow, but cut to the inside. But Hannah Ochocinco, once again, what did I tell you about that consistency? Hannah Ochocinco, not putting up those huge numbers, not getting these giant jams, but she gets lead jammer. And you know what? It's all about play. We've said it before, and I'll say it again. Even if you get sick of it, offense and defense at the same time. It's all about beating the other jammer, getting more points than the other jammer. And Hannah Ochocinco has done that consistently tonight. And it's all about, she didn't get any points on that one. We're saying no point. That's a scoreless jam, so take a drink at home. But Hannah Ochocinco not letting the Dairyland Dolls pick up any points. So that's almost as good as beating them.
Well, it really is. And for the Dairyland Dolls, it's important, too. That allows them to keep scoreless and keep knocking that time off. So a 24-point lead going into under 12 minutes. Mouse will come to the line. Kate Lethal will come to the line. A marquee matchup that we have enjoyed this entire bout. We'd like to thank the hundreds of you who contributed to viewer-supported DerbyNewsNetwork.com this summer. Our friends at Flat Track Revolution have been working literally night and day to make sure you get your goods that you've ordered ready to ship starting tomorrow. If you haven't given this year, take a look at fantastic designs that Flat Track Derby Revolution has created for Derby News Network. It's called Every Revolution Needs a Live Stream, and you can see it by clicking on the contribute link anywhere on DNN. If you like that, we know you will. Go check out more of their unique designs at flattrackrevolution.com. The revolution shall be worn.
And all weekend we have our presenting sponsor. That's FastGirlSkates.com. And you know what I love about FastGirlSkates.com? You go in there and you get to meet the owners are standing right there. Fast Girl Skates is about individualized service, and you go in and talk to La Petite Mort or Wiley Peyote because they're behind the counter. Sometimes Fighty Almighty, one of their teammates with the Rat City Roller Girls. But FastGirlSkates.com, they are our presenting sponsor for all weekend long. FastGirlSkates.com. Kay Lethal in the back against Mouse. Mouse was facing off against Hannah Auto Cinco quite a bit, but now against Kay Lethal going to the penalty box, and Mouse on the power jam.
Mouse working on roughing the passer now. Has to work on Trauma, who's getting rubbed out by the Mad Roland Dolls pack. Mad Roland splitting here a little bit. They're sort of congealing to one end of the pack. Cincinnati congealing to the north end of the pack. And falling down is Mouse, falling down again. She's going to have to get up and fight through this one after being tripped.
Now, I didn't see the penalty, but Karma Crash heading to the penalty box. She took down Mouse, and it was a little bit obscured with the officials in the way on the opposite side of the track, but it looked like it might have been a counterclockwise block. But anyway, Karma Crash heading to the penalty box, and Cincinnati now with both the jammer and two blockers in the penalty box, only two blockers on the track.
And momentarily they thought they had four players in the box. The box was full, so Murderer had to come out. Check that, Roughing the Passer had to come out. She'll be serving it eventually as Mouse goes in, which will send Kay Lethal in. So Mouse has a seat. Kay Lethal enters.
Now, look, just technical matter. Kay Lethal looked like she was standing up and was released before Mouse sat down, so that would mean it's not a jammer switch out. Mouse serving the whole minute.
Here comes Kay Lethal trying to get her team back into this one. They're trailing 24 points.
And time runs out on the jam, and we have less than 10 minutes in this very exciting bout. This is once again, can't stress this enough. This is for a trip to Chicago. The game after this, both of the teams are guaranteed a slot in the championships, which whoever wins. But this one, it's for all the it's for that trip to Chicago, that chance, that opportunity to become the 2010 WFTDA champions. And so both of these teams hungry, but the Dairyland Dolls on a tear. It looked like Cincinnati was rolling up the Mad Roland Dolls. Got 1 point ahead, but then Mad Roland Dolls just pulled out all the stops. Darling Nikki forging ahead, followed up by one jammer after the other. And so far, points unanswered by Cincinnati, 123 to 99.
Pinkley Design and Production has done a fabulous job of making sure you can see and hear DerbyNewsNetwork.com's live video feed here from Green Bay, North Central Regional Tournament. The next big tournament that will send teams to the championship is the East Regional, and that's coming up in a couple of weekends. You can catch all that on DerbyNewsNetwork.com. See the scores, check out some of the past results of these teams. A one-stop shop for everything you need to know to get yourself ready for that upcoming tournament.
And there she is, Hannah Ocho Cinco, number 85. She's going to line up by herself. Mouse still in the penalty box, and not quite finished that minute from before. Joined by Stank Girl, and it looks like Murder Her and then Karma Crash still in the penalty box for Cincinnati. So 3-on-2 in the pack, but there goes not a problem for Hannah Ocho Cinco, though. Once again, my count from when I started counting, Hannah Ocho Cinco 5 times in a row getting lead jammer. even against such great jammers as Mouse and Jewels of Denial. Here comes and here she comes on a scoring pass. Chop Susie forces her wide, but goes out herself. Hannah Ochocinco coming back in, but Vicious Van Go-Go and Sugar Lumps catching her at the front of the pack and stopping her coming into a halt. And it looks, somebody getting sent to the penalty box. Oh, Vicious Van Go-Go and Sugar Lumps just completely forgetting the pack. And now Hannah Ochocinco taking advantage of the confusion. I think she picked up 4 points on that first pass, now 5.
She has 108 to 123. And Cincinnati has finally broken a drought, 25-0. Coming into this jam was the run by Mad Rollin' Mouse back into the box.
Amazing jam right now. I just want to say, Mouse started in the penalty box, so Hannah Ochocinco on the power jam, but Mouse went to the came out and got sent right back to the penalty box. So Hannah Ochocinco still on the power jam, and I was telling you about not putting up big numbers. Here it is, putting up the big numbers. 19 points so far. The score 118. Only 4 points behind, and on another scoring pass, and we're going to wait for it. We may have another lead change. 5 points. That's going to put them. No, that's going to tie the game. That is going to tie the game. So once again, Cincinnati right back in it.
That is her 4th grand slam of this jam after Cincinnati was up by 25 on a 25-0 run, up by 24. Cincinnati has roared back to tie it. More points on the way for the Black Sheep. Another grand slam for Hannah Ochocinco. 5 points up in the air. A lead taken by Cincinnati, 128 to 123. 7 minutes to go.
Not just taking the lead, a 29-point jam. Now, we saw technically only third place, the third highest scoring jam, because last night, if you remember, Racer McChaser broke the previous record of 30 points, picking up a 32-point jam, but a 29-point jam, that's a great jam in any game.
No question, nothing to sneeze at. So the 7th lead change now of this bout as Kay Lethal comes to the line. She of another impressive jam, 19 points. Cincinnati tying together clumps of points in order to get this one back.
All right. Well, you know what? I mean, Kay Lethal, normally the go-to jammer that I've seen this weekend for Cincinnati. But she has been getting a lot of unclean play, going to the penalty box quite a lit, whereas Hannah Ochocinco has been getting through clean, getting lead. She's been so amazing this jam. I mean, if the game were to end right now, I would say that Hannah Ochocinco has outperformed Kay Lethal. But I mean, nothing to take away from Kay Lethal. She has been such an amazing jammer for Cincinnati all weekend long. But Hannah, I just got to say, Hannah Ochocinco, this game this is your game right now for Cincinnati. But Mad Rollin' Doll's not out of it by any stretch. Only 5 points separating, and they have covered 5 points more than once in this game.
Well, we've seen 7 times these teams have traded leads. Mad Rollin', the team that initially called the timeout, it was stretched to a discussion timeout by the officials. So Mad Rollin' down to 1 timeout left. Cincinnati has 2. These are, as it ticks around 7 minutes, very important to keep an eye on those numbers. Cincinnati discussing their pack, and you're looking live here at the Brown County Arena in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Brew City hosting this tournament here, the North Central Regional Tournament, the WFTDA. If you like what you're hearing now, stick around. Windy City versus Cinderella, Minnesota up next. Both of those teams will make the championship, WFTDA championship in Chicago in November. This bout right now is what will determine that third team to go.
Oh, here we go. That's another slow start. That was Jewels of the Nile holding off the start of the jammers, allowing a Mouse to come in. Mouse quickly sneaking up the inside. Kay Lethal caught by Vicious Van Go-Go. Mouse got Skater Kinney. Skater Kinney now just outmaneuvered. Well, not really. Skater Kinney had to give ground. They passed that engagement zone, and Mouse out of the penalty box and flies into lead jammer.
Kay Lethal jumps in the penalty box. A power jam on the way for Mad Rollin'. Those have changed the tides of this bout. They've changed the tides of the bout earlier today between Omaha an arch rival. We're seeing it yet again as Mouse, the 7-year veteran, tries to work her way around Skater Kinney, and she does. 5 points, a grand slam, and Mad Roland ties it up 128 all.
Now, how many times have we said Skater Kinney tonight? What some amazing blocker from this blocker that Cincinnati. No jammer gets by Skater Kinney without feeling some pain. And there it is once again. Skater Kinney gets in front of Mouse, but nevertheless, you can't do it all yourself. You know, if Skater Kinney could replicate, I bet they would be cloning her right now. She's been doing such a great job for Cincinnati, but nevertheless, Mouse able to get ahead, and so far she picked up 5 on the first pass, and then she's going to pick 3 more on that second pass. Not Skater Kinney's point. Gotta tell you.
4 points for Mouse as Mad Roland retakes the lead at 132 to 128. Now the 8th lead change of this evening.
Yeah, that's right. I think that was 3 points, and then they remembered to count Kay Lethal's jammer lap point, and so they added 4. So that was 4 points. But like I said, did not get Skater Kinney's lap point.
WFTDA would like to thank Adam Wheels, the official wheel of the WFTDA. Check out the all-new Juke 2.0. Better roll, better grip, second to none. Also, the WFTDA would like to thank, does your hiney need to be shiny? Yes, it does. If so, check out derbyskins.com. derbyskins.com if your hiney would love to be shiny. I know mine does.
I love a shiny hiney myself.
Can't resist it. 132 to 128. Mad Roland retaking the lead over the Cincinnati Black Sheep All-Stars.
Oh dear, and you know what? I see Kay Lethal skating out. I think that what that means is that she reached her seventh trip to the box.
Kay Lethal has fouled out. She's leaving the track. A critical blow to Cincinnati. Kay Lethal has been as consistent as you'll find a jammer this evening.
Unfortunately, some of that consistency has been she's been getting sent to the penalty box, and as we were just informed by the lovely and talented Val Fons Capone working the text cast tonight. And thank you all you day and then viewers who are contributing to our text cast as well. We're getting a lot of great information, a lot of great feedback from you, and all weekend long. This coverage is brought to you by FastGirlSkates.com.
Little Misbehaving waiting for her chance to go and try to extend this Mad Roland lead. With Kay Lethal ejected, Hana Ochocinco will be serving in the box for her. The pack whistle blows, jam whistle goes, and there goes Mad Roland.
Little Misbehaving just squeezing her way out of the back, but the Mad Roland does with a 4-on-2 defense. And there goes Hana Ochocinco, though, ducking and dodging sugar lumps. Can't stop her, but there's Chop Susie and Charlie Hustle. Charlie Hustle catches her with a shoulder check, and that's enough to slow her down. Hana Ochocinco just fighting, forging ahead. There goes Charlie Hustle catching her again, but she's going to get a low block. I think that was a half a lap ago.
5 points go on the board for Mad Roland. Scoring opportunity here for Hana Ochocinco.
But not likely. Little Misbehaving is the lead jammer, and she's approaching on her first scoring pass. Chop Susie and Stank Girl in the pack for Mad Roland Dolls. Trauma and Karma Crash in the box. In the pack for Cincinnati. And Little Misbehaving is going to come up empty, but she's going to go, you know what? I'm not letting them score calls off the jam from the ground.
The lead at 9 points for Mad Roland. 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. What an unbelievable effort we've seen from Mad Roland. They've been a part of 8 lead changes between these two teams. Cincinnati has been incredible as well. You got to hand it to the blockers of these teams. An unbelievably cohesive effort out of these squads.
Now, this could be very interesting. The pack starting out with only 2 blockers from each team, but both of the Cincinnati blockers in the box were standing up at the first whistle, so they're already back in 4-on-2 in the pack. But nevertheless, look at that. Darling Nikki comes around. That was the entire pack. I think that was another mental error. Cincinnati focused completely on that inside line and on trying to help their jammer. But they opened up that outside line, but Darling Nikki was there to get around. They were not focused on the Dairyland Dolls jammer. You know, Hana Ochocinco has been so consistent. You know, it's almost like, so far, if they just kind of distract the Mad Rolling Dolls defense, Hannah Ochocinco has been able to get through the pack almost on her own. Just needs a little bit of help. Not that much. And she's clean. She gets that lead jammer, which is vital right now in this end game strategy for both teams.
She has. Again, we cannot stress how important this bout is. A third-place finish in this tournament gets them to Chicago, gets them there November 5th through 7th for the WFTDA Championship. 137 to 128 is the point spread here. Cincinnati calling a timeout. They have one remaining.
That's right. The third-place finish gets them to Chicago. A fourth-place finish gets them to their couch, sitting on the couch, watching the Mad Rolling Dolls play in Chicago live on DNN this November.
These teams have gotten here by way of 1-1 record in this tournament. Cincinnati winning against Brew City, losing against Windy City. Mad Rollin winning against North Star, losing to Minnesota. Here they are lining up. 3 minutes remaining. The fans are on their feet in Brown County Arena in Green Bay.
Now, very interesting start there. The Dairyland Dolls actually starting with one blocker on the track. They had Charlie Hustle standing up in the box, so they had 3 blockers starting out in the box. But then, whereas Cincinnati was full strength, there it is, Hannah Ochocinco doing what she's been doing all night long. She gets through the pack and picks up lead jammer. And what do we have? We have Jewels of Denial at the front of the pack, but stopped in her tracks. Karma Crash and Skater Kinney, but they get past that engagement zone. Nice work by the blue pack.
Hannah's now triple shifted, gets through the pack. Dairyland has to let her go. 4 points to go on the board for the team in white. Cincinnati's own Black Sheep. So they get this back within 5 points. We've mentioned 8 different lead changes. 5 points is the spread here as teams send their players to the lines.
And the Dairyland Dolls have been strong all night, but they've also been looking over their shoulders all night. The Cincinnati not letting the Dairyland Dolls get away from them. They've been, Dairyland Dolls would so much like to put this one away and just looking at the clock, wishing the time would speed up, because they're seen at any moment. We have seen over and over again Cincinnati capable of coming back. But there's Darlin Nikki. What a clutch performer for the Dairyland Dolls. Every time they've needed it, she has come into the jammer spot and gotten through, and there she's doing it again.
Wildberry Punch enters on the floor. Darling Nikki cuts through and gets 5 more points. Dairyland Dolls extending their lead to 10 points and a power jam on the way. 1 minute and 30 seconds remain in this third place bout.
Now we may get one more jam. Now Cincinnati still has 1 timeout, but Trauma in the penalty box, and the strong performer always, Darling Nikki, out front, and she's going to get out clean, another 5 points, and that's going to give a tall order. I mean, I know that Cincinnati would really like to put Hannah Ochocinco out there as jammer, but that's going to be tough. In fact, Darling Nikki, if she can call off the jam and force that, and while Trauma's still in the penalty box, then Trauma's going to be the jammer, and that's not the jammer that Cincinnati wants.
Trauma now joined by a full box. Trauma out for cutting the track. Major cutting the track, and here comes Darling Nikki, tiptoeing on the inside. Now trying to go around, roughing the passer, and Karma Crash. Here she goes on the right side. Biding her time. Wasting time on the clock here is almost as important as scoring points. 5 more go on the board for Mad Rollin'. They're putting this one away. 152 to 132. 7 seconds to go on this jam clock. Darling Nikki trying to take off every possible second she can. 2 more players she passes as she's falling out of bounds. She'll get the points for the players in the box as well. Full 5 points go on the board. 157 to 132. Mad Rollin' over Cincinnati. timeout called to stop it at 7 seconds.
That's right. Cincinnati just sitting there. As soon as Trauma went to the box, they just sat there. They fought so hard, come so close so many times, had gotten the lead and then lost it, gotten the lead again and lost it, and then, both of those times I got to hand it to Darling Nikki, opening up that lead again for the Dairyland Dolls. But there it was again. Darling Nikki putting was that a 25-point jam that we just saw? Yes, it was. 25 points, only 7 seconds. So this is going to be the last jam. Fortunately, they were able to put their second go-to jammer and the top performer, in my opinion, for Cincinnati tonight, Hannah Ochocinco. So if there's one jammer out there that can take this back, it's Hannah Ochocinco. But she's got a tall order. She was sitting in there and looking at Mad Rolling Dolls going farther and farther away. Their chances of going to the championship farther and farther away. Now a 25-point jam just to tie the game. And it looked like Jewels of Denial was lining up. And you know what? Jewels of Denial, a power jammer for any team.
We've seen a 19-point jam from each of these teams. We just saw a 25-point jam from Mad Rollin'. And we saw earlier a 29-point jam from Cincinnati.
Not from Cincinnati, from Hannah Ochocinco, who's got the start right now.
So whoever, and right now, what's the spread here? 25 points. Hannah Ochocinco has got to outdo herself in order to get this victory with 7 seconds remaining. Third place gets them to Chicago, gets them a berth in the WIFTA Championships.
But right now, lead jammer is what it's all about. It is critical. Whoever gets lead jammer has control of the game. If Jewels of Denial gets lead jammer, she's got to call it. She's going to call it off. Only less than the time's going to run out almost before the jammers clear before the jammers clear the pack. So as soon as someone gets lead jammer, that could very well be that's going to be a huge factor. I mean, Cincinnati's still got a big uphill climb, even if they do get lead jammer.
Here's the fight of this bout. Hannah Ochocinco dips around Mouse. She won't get lead. Will get lead jam. It looked like she could have cut the track, but kept it together.
No, that
unbelievable footwork by Hannah Ochocinco.
But Jewels of Denial out of the pack as well, so she's in position to match those points, and that's all she's got to do. If she matches the points from Hannah Ochocinco, well then that's going to prevent her that every single time. She's going to get a 1 inch forward and 1 inch back every time Jewels of Denial scores a point. But 4 points so far picked up by Hannah Ochocinco. That's not going to do it. She still needs 5 scoring passes since she didn't get that jammer lap point. But look at the Cincinnati pack holding back Jewels of Denial. Oh, that was Karma Crash looking to hold back Jewels of Denial, but Jewels of Denial, there she goes, matching the 4 points. So just as far, no progress so far by Hannah Ochocinco.
Mad Rolling Dolls trying to keep this pack as swift as possible because there's really no chance of Hannah Ochocinco calling this one off early.
Now Cincinnati looking for a miracle right now because less than a minute, only 30 seconds left in the jam. She did what she needed to do, got that lead jammer status. But there it is, Jewels of Denial. All she's got to do is hang on, match any points. Hannah Ochocinco up 4 now. Jewels of Denial now in the back on a second scoring basket. Hannah Ochocinco on a third scoring basket. But she's going to get that jammer lap point as soon as she clears the pack. But there it is, less than 10 seconds. And that's gonna put the last nail in the coffin for Cincinnati. But such a great effort by Hannah Ochocinco in this jam.
Crowd ticks down the clock, and so do the players. A final score here in Green Bay, the North Central Regional Tournament. Third place on the line. Mad Rolling Dolls have grabbed it. A third seed coming in, and the final score from Green Bay, 165 to 143. Mad Rollin', back-to-back appearances in the WFTDA Championship. They made it last season. They're going to Chicago this season.
Disappointing finish for Cincinnati, but they can hold their heads high. What an amazing game. It was back and forth, neck and neck. It was looking like it was going to be a photo finish, a critical power jam. And who was there? Darling Nikki, once again in the clutch, taking back the lead and opening it up for Mad Rolling Dolls. And then Hannah Ochocinco unable to come up with that big jam at the end. But such a great work by both teams. But hats off to the Dairyland Dolls. They're going to Chicago.
8 lead changes this evening, a 19-point jam from each team, a 29-point jam from Cincinnati, a 25-point jam from Mad Rollin'. The house is rocking. We'd like to take a moment to thank the hundreds of you who have contributed to viewer-supported DerbyNewsNetwork.com over the summer. We know a lot of you are waiting to receive your premiums. We have great news for you. Our friends at Flat Track Revolution have been working literally night and day to get your goods ready to ship starting tomorrow. If you haven't given this year, you should really take a look at the fantastic design Flat Track Revolution created for DNN. It's called Every Revolution Needs a Live Stream, and you can see it by clicking on the contribute link anywhere on DNN. If you like that, we know you will. Go and check out more of the unique designs at flattrackrevolution.com. The revolution shall be worn. Also, we'd love to thank Fast Girl Skates for presenting this weekend's live coverage of the WFTDA North Central Regional Playoffs. Located in the historic Wallingford neighborhood in Seattle, Fast Girl Skates was the world's first brick-and-mortar derby skate shop. Since 2009, they've been taking orders online from around the world at fastgirlskates.com. Send in a group order for your new league. They'll help you save on shipping anywhere in the world. We couldn't bring you this great live event without continuing support from Fast Girls Skates. If you're in there, tell them DNN sent you. Bulldog, I had a blast calling this one a third place rousing finish, and Mad Rolling Dolls is sending it to Chicago.
And Cincinnati taking a well-deserved consolation lap. You know, Mad Rolling Dolls, though, ecstatic about they really are the home team right now over here. We were in Green Bay, Wisconsin, so they just had a short drive, like maybe a couple hours from Madison here, and they had a lot of fans here, and the fans are loving it. They've got the Moo Biatch, I'm going to say. They've got what they call the cow pasture, and they're here. They're ecstatic. The Mad Rolling Dolls going to Chicago this November, and we're going to bring it to you live on DNN once again. So what do we got coming up?
Windy City versus Minnesota, the first place bout of this already rocking North Central Regional Tournament. Stick around for that. For Bulldog, I'm Danny Mack. Take it easy, everybody.
Lead Jumper, Red City Roller Girl. Dairyland Dolls. Dairyland calls off the chair. Dairyland Dolls. Gossip Girl. And they just told us nothing to
They are a merchandising breed. Oh my gosh. We'd like to remind you at this time, for Dr. Henry L, we need you to clear the floor. Because we do have one more game now to play tonight. We know that you guys
Once again, folks, we know you're excited, but you must clear the floor. Oh.
We have the Windy City Rollers on the floor right now, warming up some of our fantastic officials.